welcome to my October book review. I am so happy that you're here and I am so happy to be making this video. If you know me, or if you don't know me, my name is Sangeetha and I am a content creator and I love talking about spirituality and personal development and spiritual concepts and manifestation and growth and just everything in that general area. So I talk a lot about that on my Instagram. So if you're not following me on Instagram, make sure to follow me there. I've just recently gotten back into reading and I forgot how much I truly enjoyed it and how great of an escape it can really be. Because for like the past 2 years, I've been really just diving deep into my own growth and learning more about the world, learning more about spiritual concepts, and most of those books are all nonfiction. And so for the past 2 years, I really felt like if I wasn't reading a nonfiction book, then I was wasting my time. I never even looked at the fiction section. The last fiction book I read was, I think in 2017, and it was Harry Potter. So it was a long time ago. And I really just felt like I would be wasting my time if I picked up a fiction book. But just recently, I was trying to read a book called The Holographic Universe, and I got 30 pages in and I just was not feeling it. Not that the concepts or what the author was talking about wasn't interesting. It was interesting in some way, but maybe it just wasn't the book for me. I don't know what was happening, but I just felt very not into nonfiction. Like thinking about reading a nonfiction book right now is like, I don't know what the thing, like nails on a chalkboard. Like I just don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And it's like nonfiction books have a time and place, and there are some times where I do pick one up and I'm like reading through it just to like refresh my memory about certain things, but like to really just have fun, like is good. So my sister actually got me back into reading, and so I read like 6 books in October, which is more books than I've read the entire year, which is honestly insane to me. And that also tells me that I really enjoy reading, especially fiction. And so my sister let me borrow one of her books, and she kept telling me to read it over and over again. And I was like, oh my God, I really did not want to read it. But one day I picked it up and I started reading it, and it was really good. And then I read another and another and another, and that's just how it happened. So without further ado, I will be sharing with you the 6 books that I read, how I rated it, what I thought about it, my opinion, and just a disclaimer that if there is a book on my book review list that I really did not enjoy, but you loved so much, I just don't want it to be a personal thing, because we are all entitled to our opinions, because there are probably books that I'll be giving like a 4 or 5 star rating, and you're gonna read it and you're gonna be like, what is wrong with her? Why does she think that's a good book to read? It's just personal preference. So without further ado, here are my October book reviews. Okay, so the first book I read was the one that I borrowed from my sister, and I don't have a physical copy, obviously, because I borrowed it from her, but it was The UN Honeymooners by Christina Lauren, and this book was very cute. It was a very light read. It was a romance novel, and it was just basically about this girl whose sister got married, but at the wedding, people got sick. They got like some kind of food poisoning or something, I believe. And so her sister didn't want to give up her honeymoon, so she let her sister go, but there was also another spot for her then husband. And so she ended up taking the husband's brother, which would be her brother-in-law, but they like did not like each other. It's like a enemies to lovers trope. But it was really cute. It was very lighthearted. I finished it pretty quickly. So if I were to give this book a rating, I would give it a 3 out of 5. only because I liked it, but I wasn't blown away by it. The story was cute. It was pretty original. I liked it. And it was funny. Like, it was actually it was a pretty funny book. The banter between the characters are really great. But yeah, I just give it a 3 out of 5. It wasn't my favorite, but it also wasn't the worst book I read this month. So 3 out of 5. It's good. If you like romance, if you like lightheartedness, if you like enemies to lovers, this would be a really good quick read for you. So the second book I read was, I believe it was this book. It's the Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. I bought it because, you know, it was October, it was spooky season, and I wanted to buy like a cute witchy Halloween type book. This one was good. It was a really cute story. It's not very Halloween-y, but it's like, it has witches, and it was a good book. The basic premise of the story, I'll actually read you the back of it. Actually, no, I will not, because it's actually pretty long, but the basic premise of the story was there is this, like, in this world, witches are they're not supposed to be telling people that they're witches. Like, witches are very secretive. In this part of the world, I think they live in England, and so in England there is only like one meeting like every 3 months of these witches, and that's the only time they ever see each other. Like, you're not really supposed to talk to other witches. But this girl, the main character, her name is Micah Moon, she posts videos of her doing witchy things online. And so someone reached out to her and said, we really need your help. Can you come help us? And so she ends up going to help these 3 little girls who are witches, learn more about their powers, because they don't really know much about how to control themselves, because they don't have any like witch mentors. And so they hired her to be like a witch mentor, which was like totally against the rules, because you're not supposed to be associating with other witches. And so that's basically the whole story, and it's cute. There's romance. It's like a grumpy sunshine trope. It's really cute. If you like that, this will be the book for you. If I were to rate this book, I would give it a 2.5 out of 5. It was good, but it wasn't my favorite. The story was good. I don't know, maybe it just wasn't for me. It just didn't, I really can't put my finger on it. It just wasn't my type of book. But if you like witches, you like grumpy sunshine, if you like those 2 things, this will be the book for you. It was 2 out of 5, or 2.5 out of 5. Okay, the next book I read is one I'm sure you have heard about. It is Verdi. This book literally blew my mind. My sister read it in like a day, and she was like, you need to read this book. Like, it's so good. And I was very hesitant too, but I heard everyone talking about it, and I was reading reviews about it, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. And so I read it, and I finished it in less than 24 hours. And I don't think I've ever finished a whole book in less than 24 hours, which is crazy to me. But that's how good it was. I could not put it down. It literally makes, like, it's a thriller. Like, it's kind of romance, more thriller. It's about a woman who is an author, and this guy hires her to finish a book that finish a series that his wife is writing, but she can't finish it because she has medical issues. And she finds out, this author that's filling in for the author, she's learning a lot of things, and it has murder, it has like it's like a psychological thriller. It's so good. Like, it literally has you questioning everything. It has you questioning all the characters in the book, and you're really like, it's really like you're reading the book and you're like you're literally, oh my god. Every chapter you're just like, what is happening? What is going on? How is that possible? Like, it's so good. So good. I give this book a 4 out of 5, maybe even a 4.5. It's that good. If you like thrillers, if you like romance, if you like murders, if you like psychological thrillers, like, this is the book for you. Like, you need to read. I haven't read any of her other books, and honestly I'm a little nervous too, because I love this book so much, and I don't know if the other ones will live up to the hype. You know what? They probably will. They probably will. If this one was this good, the other ones probably will also. But this is the only book I've read by Colleen Hoover, and it's good. It makes me want to read her other books. This is the one. This one is really good. Very good. Okay, so the book I read after that was another thriller. I don't have it with me. I returned it. It's called The Silent Patient. I'm sure you've heard of it also. This book is about a woman, it's about a woman who shoots her husband like 5 or 6 times, and then she never speaks again. Like, she just doesn't say anything at all. And then there's this guy who's like a psychotherapist, I believe. I actually don't remember. He wants to help her speak again. And so he works with her, but then like, it was very slow. I think that's the reason it just wasn't interesting for me. It moved a little bit too slow for my taste. It's a good story. I will say that. The plot twist was good. I was not expecting that at all. But just like this thriller compared to this thriller, the speed at which the story was moving, Verdi was way quicker, and like it will capture. I think that's why people read it so fast, is because like it just keeps moving. Like the Silent Patient was just like very slow. It was just not it for me. A good story, and it is a New York Times bestseller, so people have raved about it and they loved it. Just not for me. It wasn't my favorite. So I would give The Silent Patient like a 2 out of 5. It's not a 1 because it was well written. Like, he was a really good author, and I felt like I had to keep forcing myself to read it, which I don't want to feel like I'm forcing myself to read a book, especially if I'm reading it for fun and not for like educational purposes. So, and even that, I feel like if you're reading a book for educational purposes and you feel like you have to force yourself to read it, it might not be the book for you. But anyway, that's the rating I give it. 2 out of 5. All right, so the next book I read after that, it was actually a book that I picked up on a whim. I'd never heard anything about it, and honestly, I wanted to get it because of the cover. It's called The Brightest Star in Paris, and it's so pretty, the cover of it. It literally, when I saw it, the first thing I thought of was Phantom of the Opera. If you know anything about Phantom of the Opera, it's about a ballet. It's set in Paris in like the late 1800s, and I don't know, like I feel like I really like historical romances. I mean, this is the first historical romance I've read, but I really enjoyed it. It's about a ballet dancer named Amélie, and she runs into her long lost love, her very first love that she met 12 years ago. He's back in Paris to recruit some doctors to come back to the United States. And so he runs into her, and they kind of like reignite their flame, and it's like a I don't really know what the trope is. I guess it's like second chance love. She wants to make the right decision to take care of herself and her younger sister because her mother died. She doesn't have a father, or she doesn't know her father. It's in Paris in the 1800s, so there was a lot of like prostitution going on, so people don't know like who their fathers are, things like that. But this book was really, really good. I give it a 4 out of 5 rating. First of all, if you don't like history or historical romances, you will not like this. I kind of prefer historical romances over contemporary modern day romances. I just love the way they talk. I love the way they dress. I love the way they address each other. It just seemed very like, I don't know if modest is the word. I like this type of writing. I like this type of romance. Oh, also, it's kind of a ghost story. It's not scary though. There are ghosts in it, but it's not a scary book. So if you're like wondering if it's like kind of like a horror book, it's not horror at all. It's not scary whatsoever, but there are ghosts in it. It's kind of a ghost story. This book was so good. Like, honestly, if you go to the store and you see a book and you're thinking, I haven't heard anything about this book, I don't know if I'm gonna like it, but if for some reason you keep getting called to it, I say just read it, because I think those are the books that you'll end up liking the most. Like, I had never heard of anything of this book, and I read it and I absolutely loved it. It was so good. 4 out of 5. Excellent book. excellent. The last book I read in October was also one that I picked up on a whim. I saw it and I was like, that looks interesting. That looks relatable. Let me read that. It is called A Holly Jolly Diwali. Now, if you don't know what Diwali is it's an Indian holiday celebrated in October, November, and it celebrates like good over evil, light over darkness. If you've ever seen a Diwali celebration, there's like tons of candles, lights, fireworks, all of this. Like, it's kind of like, it kind of looks like New Year's, but like even brighter. It's so beautiful. But this book, to me, the book was very cringy, not good. It just wasn't good. It just wasn't good to me. There were so many references and like things that the character said that just made me like, ugh, I just did not like it. It just felt like the author was making the character's whole personality and whole identity being Indian, if that makes sense. Like every thought that the main character had, every decision she made, everything she wore, everything she did, everything she studied, everything she did for fun, everything was based on her being a good Indian daughter. It's weird because I used to feel like that. I used to base my entire life around my identity being Indian. And it was just not until maybe a couple years ago where I just kind of realized that's not all I am. Like, I'm more than just my ethnicity. I'm more than my race. I think it's just a personal preference. I don't know. Maybe it's just me because I mean, it is called A Holly Jolly Diwali and she is in India. But like, she would say real cringe things like, his lips looked sweet like gulab jamun. Well, if you don't know what gulab jamun is like an Indian sweet. And it was just kind of, it's just like things like that just made it really weird. I literally give it a 1 star out of 5. Like, that's how much I disliked it. Maybe I'm judging this one a little bit too harshly. We'll try again and we'll see how I feel about, Indian character-based books. Those are all the books I read in October. So if I were to rate them in order from the worst book I read to the best, I would say that number 6 at the bottom, Holly Jolly Diwali. After that would be The Silent Patient. I don't have it with me, so I cannot show you it, but that would come at number 5. Number 4 would be Secret Society, The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. Number 4 would be The UN Honeymooners. I'm very torn between 1 and 2. I would put this one at number 2. Even though I raved about this book a few minutes ago, I loved this book so much. This one, the writing was just amazing and it really had my attention captured the entire time. Like, it took me a day to read this while it took me about a few days to read this one. I will have to put this one at number 1. So that is my ranking of the books I read in October. I'm already on my second book for November. So I'll be making my November review at the end of the month. We have a lot more books to read. I'm just so excited. There's just so many books to read. Also, I built myself a bookshelf. Like, I literally built it with I didn't build it myself. Like, it came with the tools, but I used a screwdriver and like a hammer, and my sister helped me a little bit. I built it myself and I'm very proud of myself. So now I have a bookshelf where everything's color coded in rainbow order and it just looks so good. And I'm so happy because this makes me really happy. And I feel like it's a way more productive than like watching TV. Even though they're both forms of escape, honestly. I've been having so much fun reading and like going to the bookstore and picking out books to read, and it's been really fun. So thank you so much for watching my October book review. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, or if you liked my book reviews. Can I even speak? My book reviews. If you would like me to continue making these videos, because I definitely will, because I really enjoyed it. And I will see you guys in the next video.